Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this particular video, I'm going to give you guys quick information about the reason for the subtraction in our betting strategy of basketball. I know you guys are already getting yourself familiar with this particular strategy, but there are some people still asking questions concerning the figures that I always subtract from the average point. Actually, the figures actually means nothing much, but the one of the only factors and the importance of this subtraction is that the higher the figures, the higher the chance of winning your bet. So now I'm going to give you an example because we already know that no betting strategy is always 100%, even though the consistency in winning can occur, but there are situations whereby the game turns out in a way that you will not expect, as you can see in this particular ticket that one game caught. If you check these two words also, you are going to realize that one game also caught this, and I used the same strategy. Checking this also, you are going to realize that one game also caught it. I'm very sure this particular game, many of us predicted it, because I can see some people are lamenting on it because this particular game made them to lose their ticket. So that is the reason why I said you guys should always apply 22 for your subtracting figures. I'm going to show you the reason for that in this video. So there is another ticket here. Actually, there is an issue of people consistently complaining about the issue of they are unable to get enough games in a day using the strict, because the rules regarding surrounding the strategy is very strict. So this is restricting them in getting enough games in a day. But I came up with an idea of developing the under basketball strategy, and with under, combining your under basketball strategy with the over point in a day, you'll be getting up to 5 or 6 or 7 or even depending on the total amount of the games in a day. Surely you can even be getting up to 10 odd daily. That is only depends on how available the basketball games are in a day. So unfortunately, if you check this particular game very well, the prediction for it was under 175, and unfortunately this particular game ended up in 177. It was painful, but it happens in betting. So now, without wasting much of our time, what I'm going to be discussing with you guys in this video is the reasons for the subtraction of the 22 from your average point. Actually, I told you guys earlier that you can subtract any figures. Now let me quickly make use of an example of what I'm talking about. So let us select a particular league. Okay, let us. So we go to the statistics, and let's. So if you have like understand how this particular strategy work very well. If you check this, you are going to realize that this particular games they played here, which made their total point to be small, is not NBA. It's not regular NBA. It is NBA Summer League. So I'm going to avoid it, and I'm going to add up this together. This is what I'm going to add up. So now let us make use of our calculator. So let's add up the last two games played together. That is 106, 111, and 106. So I'll show you guys the reason for subtracting 22, because well, let me just. So we have 98 and 102. So another thing is, you go to the head-to-head new, where you are going to see their last previous games with other teams. So here you are going to also add up the last two games together. So you go on, we have 119 and 127. 227. So now next thing you move on to the last two games played by the away team. So I said you should always divide it by 6. Divide it by 6. Now let me give you the reason behind the division of 6 using 6. If you notice very well that when I was adding up the games, I only add up the last two games here, the last two games here, and also the last two games they add together. If you calculate everything together, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last two games they play together, making 6. So to get the average total points of what we want, you have to divide it by the total number of the matches, and that is 6. And that is the reason behind the division of how to get the average point. Now, if you are dividing this by 6, so the average total points of their games, like probably uh average point we should be expecting them to play is around 227. But this does not mean that this is how the game will end up, because this is sports and this is basketball. They can either play over this particular 227 or play below. But on the normal norms, this is what they are expected to play. At least to play something surrounding these particular figures, to play probably maybe 225, 223, 222, 240, 230. They should play something around these figures. But if you are predicting under, you are not sure whether they are going to play this certain point, but you know that they will surely play something around these figures, because even people that we are predicting their outcome, some of them are still sleeping by now, some of them are eating, some of them don't even know whether they are going to play the game, or whether they will play the game or they will not. So we are only predicting. So for us to do that, we only first need to get the average point, and that is what we have been able to do here. And that is what we are able to do here. And what you just need to do is to subtract your desired figures. Actually, the reason why I was recommending 22 for the subtraction is nothing more than, it is what I've tested so much. I've tried before concluding on using this particular strategy, on posting it on my YouTube. I've tested it several times. I've lost so much on it, because I tested it by subtracting 10 for a while. I realized that some games will come, some games will not come. There's no consistency in there. I decided to make use of 15. I realized that by using 15, the risk of predicting the game, subtracting the average point with 15, I realized that this risk is kind of low, but it's not enough for me. So I went on to make use of 20, and I realized that this thing is really working out so well with 20. And once in a while, probably uh, maybe if the game seems to be unfortunate for them, it will just be probably around 2 points more to win the game. So I concluded on 22, because later on I made use of 22, and as you can see, my consistent winning in my bet league. That is the secret behind that. I followed games that meet up my analysis. Even after subtracting 22 in some games, the bookmakers may still offer something very low, to the extent that if you subtract 30, if you decide to subtract 30 from it, the bookmaker will still provide the market for it. So I always go for the games. I went for a particular game yesterday. I'm going to show you guys. So okay, for this game, let me make a conclusion on it. So imagine you subtract 22 from 227, and you are getting 205, and you check the bookmakers markets, and you realize that the bookmakers are not providing what you want. Most times I always want to avoid it, but if I don't want to leave the game, I always make use of 1xbet, because if I check 1xbet now, I'm surely going to see something like this. I'm going to see the market, but the odd will not be that kind of friendly. But I'm not, most times I'm not after odds, I'm not after big odds. Sometimes I'm only concerned about winning. So that's one thing about me. So I'm going to show you something about the bookmakers, what the bookmakers did in a particular game. So if you are someone that doesn't know how to predict under points, don't try it, please. So this is the game. Okay, this particular game, as you can see, the market provided by the bookmakers provided the lowest market of over 138.5. But after doing the analysis of this particular game, I realized that even after subtracting 22, the point I supposed to predict the game supposed to be around over 145 or 144, I think so, over 1.5 and 144. And fortunately for me, the bookmakers even went to an extent of providing something very extremely low to the point I got. So it will be very easy for you, because this game, when I saw it, I already know the game has already won. So that's just how the analysis works. Surely you are going to see games that bookmakers will use as a trap for people that are predicting under games. This particular game also pay me, but these games pay me, but we just, that's just betting for you. So for people that are requesting for the reason why I always subtract 22, if you want to be subtracting 15 in your own analysis, you are free to do that. If you want to be subtracting 10, you are free to do that. If you want to be subtracting even 30, you are free to do that. But the higher figure that the higher the figure that you subtract in the average point will give you it will give you the high chance and high probability of winning your basketball predictions. So that's how the basketball over points work. And if you're interested in learning the basketball under points, currently I'm teaching some people how to make use of this basketball under points. I was let me say I was hinted by one of my audience that, okay, your strategy is working for under point, but I realized that there are still more to this under point than using the basic strategy that we all are seeing here. So in case you're interested in joining me in exploring how to make use of these under points, because by combining under points with your over point strategy, surely you are going to be making a very good odds daily using both strategy of over and under. At least sometimes you'll be getting up to um 7 odd, 5 odd, 6 odd, 8 odd, and 10 odd daily. And if you want to go into extent that you want to be getting 30 odd, make sure that you are checking your bet platform every weekend or very close to weekend, like Friday, like this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Surely you will be getting enough games. So thanks for watching, guys. This is Ajay Best Predict. If you want to join me on my social media to explore this particular under point strategy, to acquire some knowledge on it, you can check my videos in the description. You are going to see my handles and my WhatsApp contact there. So thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye.